Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about 45, 45, 90 triangles. We have something called the 45, 45, 90 triangle theorem, and basically a 45, 45, 90 triangle, it is a special triangle because it appears a lot. The legs have to be congruent, and the side here, I'm actually not going to call these X because those appear in the problems too much. I'm going to call them S. And the hypotenuse is always those side lengths, the legs, multiplied by radical 2. I'm going to show you where that radical 2 comes from real quick. So if we go over to this little triangle over here, I know that these sides, the legs, have to be congruent because it's an isosceles triangle. So I'm going to try to find what's the value of y in terms of x. So using Pythagorean theorem, I know that x squared plus x squared equals y squared. X squared plus x squared, that's 2x squared. Now I'm trying to get this to be y by itself so I can solve for y. So in order to get y by itself, I need to square root both sides. Normally when I square root both sides, I would do positive or negative, but it's not really necessary in this case because I see that x represents a side length and y represents a side length, so y is going to have to be positive. Now when I have a square root like this, I can break it down into two separate square roots. The square root of 2, I don't know, that's not a perfect square. However, the square root of x squared, the square root and the squared cancel out. So I end up with square root of 2 times x. I'm just going to rearrange this to make it x radical 2 equals y. And you'll notice that's where that comes from on the hypotenuse. You will never have to recreate this proof for me, but you do need to know these side lengths. Let's try using it in a problem. So for these first examples, we're going to try to find the hypotenuse, all right? So we're given a leg. I know that the other leg would also be 6. I'm going to start out by labeling my sides. I know that the legs are s and my hypotenuse is s squared root of 2. I know the value of s. I know s is equal to 6. So in order to get x, I know it is s times the square root of 2, so I can plug in 6 for s. This one I don't have to simplify at all. It's just 6 radical 2. If you wanted to find an approximate answer, you would need to plug this into your calculator. 6 times the square root of 2, which is 8.49. So 6 radical 2 is a great answer. 8.49 is also a great answer. Depends on what the problem's asking you for. This is exact. This is approximate, since I rounded. All right, let's do another. First, we label the sides. So I know that the legs are s and the hypotenuse is s squared root of 2. So I have x is equal to s squared root of 2. I need to find s. I already have the value of s. It's 9 squared root of 2. So I'm going to plug that in for s. This one I do have to do a little extra work. I have 9 squared root of 2 times square root of 2. Square roots can be multiplied together. So 2 times 2 is 4. The square root of 4, however, is just 2. So I have 9 times 2. Eventually, once you see square root 2 times square root 2 is just 2, you might be able to skip this in-between step. That's fine. 9 times 2 is 18, so I know x has a value of 18. As a little hint for you, when you are finding the hypotenuse, you are always multiplying the leg by square root of 2. All right, pause the video and try the practice problem below. Here are the correct answers. Let's do another problem. This time we're given the hypotenuse and we want to find the leg. So we'll start out the same way, label the sides. Okay, it's the same process. We need to figure out what is the value of s. I know that x is equal to s, but I need to find s. I don't just have s by itself yet. I have 12 equals s squared root of 2. So I need to get s by itself. I'll do that by dividing by square root of 2 on both sides. Now, since this is going to be my final answer, since x is equal to s, I should rationalize it. So in order to rationalize, I need to multiply by a sneaky 1. In this case, I'll use square root 2 over square root 2. 12 times the square root of 2 is 12 square root 2. Square root 2 times square root 2, we talked about before, is the square root of 4. However, I know the square root of 4 is just 2. And finally, you always want to check if this can reduce. 12 over 2 has a common factor of 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So I get x equals 6 square root of 2. Again, you could get an approximate answer as well by plugging it into your calculator. All right, so as a hint for you on this one, you're always dividing the hypotenuse by square root of 2. Pause the video and try the practice problem below. Okay, here are your correct answers. And finally, I want you to answer this question. So you might want to use a coordinate plane for this. That would be a really good idea. Get some graph paper out. It says triangle XYZ is a 45, 45, 90 triangle with right angle Z. Find the coordinates of point X in quadrant 1. For Y, the point -1, 2, and Z is at the point 6, 2. I need you to find the missing point X. That's all I have for you today. I'll see you back tomorrow to learn about a new special triangle.